All right, here's your weekly DC update. I've got 3 stories here to talk about. We've got Patty Jenkins and what she said about Wonder Woman 1984 and how it ties into the theatrical release of Justice League and also the new Zack Snyder version of the Justice League. We've got Zack Snyder, who is remastering Batman vs. Superman in the IMAX aspect ratio. And we also have Zack Snyder coming out and saying they're real close to making a deal to having Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League actually show up in theaters at the same time it's on HBO Max. So let's get this update started. Patty Jenkins recently did a podcast with somebody, and I listened to the whole podcast earlier today, and she talked about Wonder Woman and how her and almost every director in the DC universe is acting like the version of Justice League that got released in theaters does not exist. They're basing everything they are doing off of what Zack Snyder wanted and what his vision is. Because I think Zack Snyder's vision is the one that they're going to move forward with, especially after the Justice League version of his film gets released, hopefully in March, if they're not joking, and they said it could be within a couple of months. But she said they all want to respect Zack's vision. He's the one who actually created these characters, and she was really disappointed with the version that got released in theaters. So she said, if you notice that in the Joss Whedon version of Justice League, her costume was a little bit different. Well, if you're going to see in 1984 and anything we do going forward, it's going to be the version that Zack Snyder came up with. So that version is no longer considered canon, which is music to my ears, and I'm sure it's going to be music to a lot of people's ears, because that movie was just, I've done a retrospective on that and Batman vs. Superman. I'll leave a link to some of those retrospectives in the description, because if you haven't watched those and you want to learn what really happened behind the scenes, those retrospectives that I did talk about what happened and where we're headed. So that's the first story. She said every director is respecting his vision. All right, that leads us to the next story, where Zack Snyder said he is remastering Batman vs. Superman with some additional footage. So hopefully this is in addition to the footage we also already have in the Ultimate Edition. So for people who don't know, there are 2 versions of Batman vs. Superman. There's the one that was released in theaters. They also have the Ultimate Edition, which has about 45 minutes of added material, which makes the film so much better. If you haven't seen it, that's the version you want to see. Well, he's remastering the whole thing, and he's going to do it in the aspect ratio of IMAX. Now, for people who don't know, IMAX is more of a 4:3 image, which is more of a square image like the old TVs used to be. He's very much a fan of shooting in that format versus the widescreen that we get, which is usually 2.35 to 1 ratio or 1.66 to 1 or even 1.78 to 1. Those are the common aspect ratios. Most TVs at home are 1.66 or 1.78 to 1, and you'll even get a black bar with the widescreen at 2.35 to 1 ratio. So he's going to be filming everything in a 4:3, and that's the way also Justice League, his version, has been filmed. Whether they broadcast it that way, it's who knows. But that is giving you more image. How they film movies is they do film it in kind of a square, but they keep in mind the different aspect ratios depending upon what it's going to be released, and you get some cropped at the top and the bottom. Well, if you get the full IMAX experience, it's everything all the way around, but in a square. Won't fill up your TV, but you are getting more of an image. So that's kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That leads us to the last story, which is Zack Snyder tweeted today that there is a very good chance that his cut of the Justice League movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League, will be released day and date with HBO Max. And I think they're able to do this now because of all the movies that Warner Brothers announced were going to be released on the service in the coming year, which is going to keep people coming back to HBO Max. So there isn't so much pressure on the Zack Snyder Justice League cut to perform on HBO Max only. And by putting it in theaters, they're going to get people like me and fans to go out and see it, which is going to bring even more money for them to get ready to do the second and third part of Justice League. There's a very good chance that they're going to let Zack Snyder finish out his vision. Everything is pointing in that direction. As soon as the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League comes out, Wonder Woman has run its course, we're going to be hearing some big announcements for some films coming up. I am anticipating some more Man of Steel films, and I'm also anticipating a Batman series on HBO Max. These are pure speculation on my part from everything I've read and seen, but I think that's where they're headed. So there's the update for this week. We got Patty Jenkins talking about respecting Zack Snyder's vision. Zack Snyder coming out with 2 very big projects. The other thing I forgot to mention is also he's expecting his Justice League cut to be rated R, which is interesting. The Ultimate Edition of Batman vs. Superman was rated R as well. Not that it was overly violent or worse than the theatrical cut, just how they give a movie an R rating is if there's an intense sequence that runs on for an extended period of time. After it hits a certain mark, they have to give it an R rating. And that's what happened with the Zack Snyder cut of Batman vs. Superman, his Ultimate Edition. It was intense, and that's why it got an R rating. And I have a feeling that's what will happen to the Justice League as well. So we're going to see some pretty crazy stuff coming up. And that may have to do with some of the Joker stuff that's being added into the movie too. So if you haven't been watching my videos, I talk about all the stuff that's happening. I encourage you to go back and watch the back catalog because you'll get the full story of what's happening. I'm still new on YouTube. I've only been on here for 2 months, less than 2 months. I think my first video got released about 7 weeks ago. So I'm still new on here, so you can go back and watch all my stuff without a major time commitment. If you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will be notified when new videos go up.